and today we are going to be doing a Raid Shadow Legends video. Today will be a guide video on Harvest Jack, who is a HP based character from the Undead. Right, let's have a look and see what we have for his abilities. Right, so let's start off with his abilities then. On his A1 Harvester, he attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 25% chance of stealing a random buff from the target. Each hit also has a 25% chance of placing a fear debuff for 1 turn if the target has no active buffs. This chance increases to 100% if all buffs were stolen from the target. This can be increased by up to 10% more, so 35% chance of stealing buffs and placing fear. If you book him out, it's only 4 books, which isn't too bad, quite respectable. It's a nice little ability, great in the arena. Obviously you get somebody placing all those buffs like block damage, block debuffs even, and he can come along and can steal them. And that's the really great thing about this ability, is he's not just removing these buffs, he steals these buffs. He takes them onto himself. So makes the enemy weaker, makes himself stronger. Cannot be a bad thing at all. Right. Now let's look at his A2. We've got Dreams to Ash. Attacks all enemies, places a block, buffs, debuffs for 2 turns on targets under fear, which is a really cool ability, especially if you pair him with certain champions that are going to be placing those block buffs up anyway. Now, don't get me wrong, the fear, let's get back. The fear himself on his A3, we'll go through that in a minute. If you have somebody else who is placing those fears as well, it just makes that ability that little bit more potent and a little bit more likely to go off. Because obviously you may not have placed all the fears you want using his ability, but you've got somebody else out there like Miscreated Monster, Masteries, and they're placing fears, martial art, you know, any of those he pairs rather well with, because obviously then you can take those fears, turn them into block buffs, which is absolutely brilliant. Obviously it's timing dependent very much. Doesn't really work so well if your characters already have a bunch of buffs up on them. I mean, it can stop getting more buffs, but obviously it's best placed as early as possible when they don't have any, or if you've managed to get somebody else to strip all the buffs, and then you can get it up. Again, pairs great with Madame Ceres because she can come in, rip off all those buffs. Only the buffs, mind you, not the debuffs. So if you've already got those fears up there, he can then come in, bang, block buffs, and nobody else putting no buffs up for 2 turns. Obviously that can be extended if you take Master Hexer, I think it is, and extend his, so then you might get an extra turn on that, which is great. Either way, it's really clutch in arena battles in particular, but can really help in dungeons too. Removes any increased attack buff from the target and replaces them with a 50% decreased attack. Again, nice little ability. I don't personally find this one absolutely great, but it is still useful. Obviously, if they've got attack champions and they're placing this increased attack and you turn that into a decreased attack, you're going to make them hit softer rather than harder. That's still useful. Removes any continuous heal buffs from the target and replaces them with a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. The number of poison debuffs is equal to the number of continuous heal buffs removed. Obviously, this is a great ability. And really pairs well with when you fight against somebody like Badel. Then obviously he puts all the poisons out there, continuous heals out there, 2 on each player. That's great. All of those become poisons. You're suddenly doing a load of damage. Obviously there are plenty of other heroes in the games that put out continuous heals. None of them do it quite as well as Badel does, so obviously you get the best benefit with somebody like him, but it's still always going to be a great benefit for you. So anyway, let's move on. So we have Lord of Terror. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a true fear debuff for 1 turn. Also places a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns, and decreases each target's turn meter by 15% if the true fear debuff is placed. Has a 75% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn if the true fear debuff is not placed. I can't say I've ever really had an issue with this. Obviously you build out its accuracy nice and high, you'll be landing those true fears, but as a nice little conciliation prize. If you don't land the true fear, he's got a good chance of landing the sleep. And obviously this again can be buffed up. You can actually get the cooldown down to 4 turns, and you can buff the chance of landing up to a whopping 100%. So that's just great. Obviously the only thing you're then facing is an accuracy check as whether or not you're going to land the true fear. And obviously the accuracy is still going to play something of a fact, I'm guessing, on placing the sleep, which doesn't actually make sense, because if you've not placed the true fear, you're not going to place the sleep. Anyway, let me know in the comments, guys, if you know how that one works. I can't say I've ever really noticed it. I've pretty much always landed the true fear, so it's never been a factor for me. Anyway, let's move on. We don't want to drag this out too long. So, Leering Grin is his passive, and this is a brilliant passive, guys. Absolutely amazing, especially in the arena, but you know, it's great anywhere. In the dungeons, alright, I wouldn't maybe take him into Clan Boss, because again, obviously he's throwing out all these debuffs you just don't want. But it can be really useful in a lot of dungeons. Help clear your waves, help control your waves, and really keep their buffs down, which is great. So this one, Leering Grin, when attacked, decreases the duration of all buffs on the attacker by 1 turn. Now that's just brilliant. Obviously, I mean, some buffs only have 1 turn anyway, so they're basically effectively not going to have their buff. If they attack him, they're going to lose it straight off, plain and simple. But even those longer ones, it's going to decrease it each time they attack him. I must admit, that would be slightly better, and only slightly better, if rather than using True Fear or block buffs, he had a way of provoking, because then obviously you're actually getting people to attack you, at which point they'd be losing their buffs when they do, so that would be a lovely synergy. I'm not saying he needs a buff, he is a great champion anyway, but if they ever do want to rework him, that's something to look at, because it gives synergy with his passive. Anyway, so let's get on and have a look at how I've got mine built. Now bear in mind, I'm a mid-level player. I have been playing for quite a long time, 6 months or so, maybe a little bit longer. However, progression-wise, I'm still what I would consider to be mid-game. You know, I'm on Nightmare Clan Boss, not Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, although I am working on that. I am farming most of the dungeons to 20, but not all the dungeons to 20 of his jacket. Now, he is a HP based character, so as such has a great base HP, 26,000, nearly 27,000. So he's a great candidate for a shield set. Obviously, with the shield set, we go on to that quickly. 4 artifact set, that's the only drawback for it I find personally, but you know, it gives you a 30% HP ally shield for 3 turns. Okay, it's only right at the start, but again, in dungeons it can be clutched to a degree. Certainly in the arena it can be clutched on surviving. Basically, you boost his HP up as high as you can get it, and you're talking a nice big solid shield out of him. I've got mine stacked with, I say stacked, not stacked, again count, as I said, my gear is lacking somewhat. It's something I am currently working on, but I've still got him up to a respectable 88,000 HP. His attack and defence are both a little bit on the low side. I would like to boost those. However, I have managed to get his speed up to a fairly respectable 199. So he does go pretty fast in the arena, and I want him to go fast in the arena. You know, I want maybe first or second on my team, throwing out those True Fears, locking up the entire team. I don't use him on everything, although having said that, he is on one of my 3v3 arena teams permanently. So we've got his crit rate, 42. Again, I would like to get it higher. Having said that, he's not a big damage dealer, I found personally. I used to have him built out for crit rate and crit damage to a degree. And don't get me wrong, if you stack him with a lot of crit damage, he probably can do some damage. But I feel his benefit is to be there, confusing the team, locking them up, CCing them, taking those debuffs down. And for that, you want him to stay alive rather than doing damage. You can have other people in there doing the damage. So yeah, anyway, accuracy. Obviously, if I was looking at playing in Platinum or anywhere much higher, I'm going to need to get this higher in itself. But again, like I say, in my case, mid-game sort of account, we do need to bear that in mind here. I'm not showing you end-game gear, I'm not showing you an end-game account. This is the sort of thing you can expect, if you do things right, certainly, and farm correctly, you could certainly be looking at an account like this within 3 or 4 months, or at least a few champions like this at this sort of level. Yes, I do have two 6-star pieces on him. Even I hadn't realised that. I am starting to collect 6-star pieces. It is starting to work out quite well for me. Obviously here you've got 6-star HP, 60%, that's great. So anyway, what have we got him built with? Right, so I've got a HP banner on him. I would like to change that out for an accuracy banner. I currently don't have an accuracy banner to use. Okay, so let's pause for a second and we will see what he can do. We will take him into the arena. Classic arena. Let's try this one. Sinesha. I use her occasionally in dungeons, but primarily in the arena. She's the one we're going to take out right now. And we'll show you what a confusion team can do. So, you might think this will be a bit redundant with Valk and shields from Jack, but it quite often actually works out very well. Obviously this team's a little bit stronger than me. Good test. Let's put them in and see what happens. Masteries. She's going to strip all my buffs. Great. We all love her, don't we? Alright, so let's see how we go. So you see we've got this lovely juicy shield here. On Jack, because he's got such high HP, he's only got the 30%. But, you know, you look at my Hegemon, that's nearly half of his health. Even my Valkyrie shield, to be fair. My Valk's not built as well as many endgame Valks, so my Valk shield isn't much bigger than this, it's only a little bit bigger than this. So this is obviously a great way to start. Because I've got the Hegemon, I get to go first and try and lock them out. Yeah. We got one. Ooh, that was painful. Obviously Lanikis came in and did the blender. The Hegemon's down. Everybody's stunned from Trunda. Absolutely brilliant. We love this. This is starting to look like we're going to get our asses handed to us, but we're going to keep it in there. Right, so those shields are now pretty much gone. But if we hadn't had those shields, we'd probably already be dead. So it shows you the value of that shield set on somebody like Jack at the start. They will have been dropping buffs all along while they're hitting him, lowering the duration and everything. There we go, we get our buff stuns out. Now, we've only got 2 stuns out. We've got, obviously, Arbiter here is our Reza, we want her out. Trunda's a big deal, so what we're going to do is we're going to go in with our A3, Lord of Terror. Lovely animation there for that. And you look at that. Now mine isn't built for damage. He's not got the high crit rate, all the rest of it, but that has now locked out the other 2. Unfortunately it didn't land on everybody. Obviously they've beaten me on the accuracy there, their resistance is higher. However, we've nearly killed Valkyrie, Arbiter, and Trunda's taken a good whack, and the pair of them have both got True Fear on. So we will now just clean up a little bit. Let's take out Arbiter. We might as well go for Madam Service, take that shield off her, so we can take it down, we do. Alright, now we're going to use Seal of the Drakes. Bang, we're going to hit Trunda. Good solid hit. Quite often, I mean, I've got my Seal of the Drakes in a stun set. Pairs nicely with the fact that Array 2 does a stun as well. You quite often get a stun off of Array 1, which is just brilliant and clutch, and can obviously help you keep everybody under control. So between the 2 of these, you've got masses of control there. Alright, I've lost my Hegemon. He's sat there doing nothing, but I don't need him at this point. You know, his job was initially to come in and try and lock him out. I could pick him up now, and in fact, if I've only got an A1, that's actually what I'm going to do. It'll just help me get down there just that little bit quicker, maybe. Gives her a target to hit other than my other champs. Now, obviously, this is not a quick battle. We've got 3 minutes 48 seconds, 3 minutes 50. I don't have any great speed leads on my account. One of my alternate accounts has a couple of okay speed leads, but still no great ones. So obviously, I have to fight a different way. I'm not going to beat somebody like an Arbiter on speed. Possibly if they've got the worst gear on the planet, but judging by the resistance they had on a couple of those champs, that's just not going to happen. So I have to think of playing it differently, and this is how I've been playing for months now because I didn't have any other option. Now we're going to show what you can do in some dungeons. Right, we're going to start with Finite's Castle. It's a good spot for him. Obviously he's got that triple hit on his A1. Brilliant for taking down the Finite's shield. Alright, let's go for stage 16. Stage 16 is nice and neutral. No big problems. Stage 16 I tend to find personally is a good one to farm if you're struggling with the higher ones. But what we're going to do is we're going to pull him out and put in Jack, and let's see how this runs. Okay, so we're going to leave this running on auto. We'll slow it down a bit so you can see what happens. So there you go, he's gotten out 2 fears, 3 fears, true fears. We've got decreased speed on a whole chunk of them. Still coming in with her stuns. We're also just ripping them down with the keep the turn meter. Got decreased attack, decreased defense. Which slowly but surely, obviously slightly slower due to the fact that we're on ×1. Actually, let's speed this up and get to the boss. The reason I put him in place here for in place of Razin, Razin again has a triple hit on his A1. Obviously it can work quite well if you pair them both together, and Razin actually has his defense down and weaken on a single target, but obviously it won't help you clear the waves as much as Masteries. So in hindsight I could have actually pulled out Masteries and put Jack in for her, but as you'll notice, obviously in an arena battle you only get the shield at the start, but in a dungeon run it's at the start of each round. So obviously we're starting each round with this lovely chunky shield helping to keep our team alive. Obviously that's purely based on the shield set, so it's more about the shield set than Jack, but you know, without Jack's great IHP you're not going to get as chunky a shield. As you saw in one of the arena battles, you know, somebody else was using the shield set, their shield was much smaller. They've stuck it on a non-HP champion. That's not a bad idea, it still helps them, it still gives them some HP. Now let's see how we do. Heart secret a long time, we don't like that. What's Jack doing there? He's pulling off wrong move. There's no fear out, there's no reason for him to throw that move. I do wish they'd tweak some of these A1s a little bit, they do stupid stuff sometimes. There you go, so he's got the shield down at the wrong time, shield's back up. Alright. Still comes in, she's only got the one hit, but she's there more to keep people up and the stuns don't control the waves. She doesn't do too much on the boss, same with Madam. 1, 2, 3, shield's down to 2. Alright, she does a big hit, there you go. Right. Anselms comes in. Right, let's have a look and get in her turn meter decrease, yes. So quite nicely. We need another one up. No. So shield's up again. This might take a while. This is why I like Razin in here. bit better with his 10 metre control. But now we've got it down there. We haven't got it yet. In a minute. See again, heart secret totally the wrong time. I mean, you know, if you were manualing this, you'd be doing this a lot more successfully. On auto, you get what you get. At the end of the day, shields down. Accuracy. It's going to come in, do a massive decrease. That's great. Get some poisons up. It's not doing much. Oh, again, with you see, that's the thing. On the finite, we're not all about damage. I mean, we are, don't get me wrong, and this is why my jack is maybe not built so right for this, because it's not going to do a whole hell of a lot of damage. But his main function here, again, very much like Seal, is to help you get through the waves and get to the boss. On the boss, his main and really only purpose is to help you get that shield down quickly with his triple hit. And obviously, you know, he does throw in a bit of damage and whatnot. Then all your other champions that are in there with your turn meter decreases, your Cold Heart for a Heart Seeker, doing big damage, keeping the turn meter down. Now this is obviously going to take a while. What we'll probably do here is cut the video a little bit, just so that we don't drag this out too long, and show you what sort of time we came in with. It's not going to be a fast run. I've done faster with other champs. Unfortunately, I can't remember which champs I used previously for this run. Obviously, it just gives you the option to use the same champs you've been using on whatever dungeon, and I've been farming stage 20 with Razin in there. There you go. 5 minutes 24. And we're going to jump down to stage 16. Alright, and who should we pull out? Obviously, we'd like to decrease defense. We got poisons. Okay, we'll try taking out Sil. She's a great support here, but he's going to be supporting us on each round with the shield at least. Won't be doing much more than that. Obviously, he'll be crowd controlling as well, another area that Sil was covering. So we're going to leave this on auto. So Lord of Terror goes out, he fears up, what, 4 out of the 5, that's not bad. Does a good whopping chunk of damage to him. As I said again, mine is not built to do damage, he is built for control. You could lower his HP somewhat and try and build up his combat stats, get his crit rate up, get his crit damage up, and he will do more damage, especially with that move. It's a trade-off. It depends where you're mostly going to want to use him and what you're going to use him for. Obviously, if you lower his HP, he's not going to give you that good big chunky shield, but then he's also going to do a bit more damage to the mobs that he is hitting. So you know you've got to find that balance point that you're happy with. I mean, we're not doing too bad here speed-wise. Alright, it's stage 16, not stage 20. But again, you know, on my account, the gear isn't really there. I have very specific champions that have my best gear on, that do the job well, and I found the synergy works well, and I don't really want to mess that up too much. If I do, I might end up in a position where I'm suddenly not able to clear stage 20 because I can't remember the champs that used to do it, you know. then I've got all the hassle of trying to figure it out again. That's actually a good piece of advice for anybody. You know, if you've got a team that's reliably beating a dungeon and you're happy with it, take a screenshot or something on your phone, or take a picture of your computer, or screen capture, whatever you want to do. Try and record the team that you find does well, and at least that way you've got a record and you can go, if you do have to move them up for any reason, you're trying out a new champion, or you just feel like trying something different. It's not so bad if you're only changing one, but if you end up changing a couple and then you go, oh, this isn't really working that well, and you can't necessarily remember what the champions you had in there. So obviously on the boss here, Jack doesn't do a great deal. He was there to help us get through the waves, which he did in a fairly decent time. Here, all your damage is going to be coming from the poisons off of Frozen Banshee. Sinesha, being that she's built for DPS, she's going to do a fair bit. She's also providing heals for the team. She's got that one ability that will heal one champion with the lowest HP. She's got that ability that evens out all your HP. So she's in there doing some good damage, but she also does some. You saw there, Cold Heart got a nice little top up. And although it's not super fast, we're not calling this a speed run by any stretch of the imagination. It's working, and it's working well, and I'd imagine you could run this team a whole bunch of times and you're going to get a high win rate. With confidence, we were never really in any difficulty or any trouble there. That's without a reviver to bring anybody back up. So you can certainly see his benefit. I could show you him in all the other dungeons, drag this video out. There's not a lot of point in that. Spiders, again, you know, he's no miscreated monster. He doesn't have the stun ability. You know, he can fear people up, he can do some control. So again, you throw him in a shield set, like I've done. He can play for you in Spider. He'll help support you. He'll be out there throwing out those fears. Unfortunately, obviously, if we go back to him, you know, it's his longest cooldown ability. So 5 turns. 5-turn cooldown. Now, obviously, I've not booked mine out. Legendary books being as rare as they are, so this is an unbooked Jack you're looking at. I put in, yeah, I think I tried one legendary book on him, and that's it. And then decided that I didn't, at the time on my account, I did not really want to focus on him. Next, the legendary books. I may. I mean, to be fair, if I didn't have certain other characters like Warlord here, who was going to be coming into my arena team, I would actually look at putting Jack in there permanently in my main arena team for the control, for the debuff removal, all the rest of it. For me, he's not ideal because I've got other champs I'd rather use, but that doesn't diminish what he can do, and he is great. And like I say, I do use him in my 3v3. I tend to get a fair amount of wins, and he'll do well for you there. You know, he can do well on the defense. In the shield set, you're going to be starting with that big shield they've got to chomp down through. He's going to be throwing out his fears. Anyway, that's how I was Jack on the IceMan, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe.